Hi stock investors, JJ here, welcome back. Well, Tesla earnings were out today for Q2, and so I'm going to go through the numbers and have a look. I was looking at some Tesla YouTube channels, some pumper channels, and they didn't really even show the numbers. So I'm going to show you warts and all, give you a fair summary of what I think is going on here, because the share price did crater after earnings. Why was that? I saw some people in the comments of those channels surprised. Why is the stock price going down? What's going on? Because Elon said some great things about the future on the call, and of course it's not all about that. It's about the numbers as well, and we can see that. So the share price here down 7.77%, all the sevens after hours there, and during the day it actually went down 2% as well, so that's on top of that. But if we go back just for year to date, it's only slightly down, and of course for the past month it's had that big ramped up based on robo-taxi and all this great future. But this is the numbers, and the stock did crater. So we're going to go through that. I'll try and give you a fair assessment. I'm going to go through it live. I haven't really looked at it. We'll just see what's going on here. So we'll go straight to the numbers, because this is what this Tesla pumpers kind of just gloss over or miss out. If anything's bad, well, if you haven't looked at this, you wouldn't notice, but if you'll notice that they just gloss over anything bad and just give you this bright and rosy picture, which is not what we need to see as analysts, as investors. So let's start right at the top here. Total automotive revenues. We can see here that it's actually minus 7% year on year. And energy generation and storage revenue, now that is a bright spot. Look at that, 100% growth there year on year, which is really good to see. I think it is an exciting part of the business, not very glamorous, so people haven't talked about it very much. Services and other revenue up 21%, also a good number. There's some growth there, but really it pales in comparison to this revenue number here, a fraction of it. But if this storage keeps growing at 100%, it's not going to be too long before that's a substantial part of the business. But at the moment, it's not really a huge part. So that's why possibly partly why the stock price actually went down. I think investors, analysts were hoping for something better than this. So total revenues I see up 2%. Which is not stellar. 2% growth. Remember those days when Tesla was 50%, and a lot of bullish, let's say, face it, Tesla pumpers thought that 50 cent was going to go on forever and ever. But as the business gets bigger, the law of large numbers, it's harder and harder to grow that fast. So total gross profit 1%. All right, let's go down a bit further. Operating expenses. We're going to go through, so I want to get to some other things. So operating margin, and now that's a negative number there. It's gone down year on year, 6.3% operating margin. Wow. So income from operations, minus 33% there. Operating expenses up 39%. So this so far this is pretty lackluster, not great to see here. And you can see why the share price has tumbled. Apart from, I did listen to earnings call. I listened to that, and Elon was very, he was very bullish on the future. So, this projected revenue has some big numbers in there, and is it to the point where people don't kind of believe him on the timelines anymore? Anyway, let's see. Operating margin is, as I said, 6.3%. So net income attributable to common stockholders, minus 45% there. Wow. So you can see why I'm actually surprised that the share price is not down more based on these numbers. But anyway, it is a kind of a cold stock. Whoops. It is a kind of a cold stock, so it is par for the course. Net cash provided from operating activities, 18% up. That's good. So these are not bad numbers. Capital expenditures, 10% up. So the capex is rising there. And free cash flow, 34% up. That's good to see. At least they have free cash flow and cash equivalents and investments. This is impressive. 30 billion. What are they going to do with this 30 billion? And that's up 33%. So that's a positive sign. They got heaps of cash. I remember when Apple first had 100 billion, and Berkshire Hathaway's nearly got 200 billion, and they've just got it sitting there. They're going to invest it. What's Tesla going to do with this money? Well, I did see an Elon tweet saying he was actually asking, should we invest it in XAI? I think that's what he was saying. So that's a possibility that they invested some other Elon businesses, if that's allowed, if he doesn't get into trouble for seemingly putting Tesla money into other projects. We'll have to see what happens there. It will be interesting to see if that happens. So financial summary. Let's just go through this quickly. Total revenue increased 2%. We've seen this. Let's just see what they've put in highlights here. Growth in energy generation. Sure. Yep, that's a positive sign. Cybertruck deliveries, that's ramped up, but not huge numbers yet. We'll see delivery numbers in a minute. Higher regulatory and credit revenues. Is this a plus or is this not a plus? So given that the numbers aren't great, they had higher revenue from regulatory credits. Growth in services and other. So that would be good to see that ramping up over time. As you see, I'm trying to give you, a fair assessment, not both good and bad, not just trying to pump it to the moon, which you do get the feeling that Elon's trying to pump the stock, and he's, with that whole pay packet thing, that he's got incentive to do that. So decline in sexy vehicle deliveries and negative FX impairment. All right. So not some, at least they some not great things in their profitability. Reduced sexy vehicle ASP as noted above. Restructuring charges. So our operating income decreased year on year. Okay. Higher regulatory credit revenue. Wow. So that revenue is now, if Trump gets into the White House, Elon's paying him supposedly $45 million a month he would expect something back from that. Does he expect that this will continue? He has said that Tesla will do better if regulatory credits, if subsidies went away, it would hurt their competitors, but I don't know, it could hurt Tesla too, don't you think, in terms of their cars anyway. And let's see, here we go, operational summary. So a Model 3 and Y production minus 16%. And you might say, well, Cybertruck, so other model production up 24%. But look at these numbers, 24,000 versus 386. And that 386 was down 16%. So really, the not great numbers continue here. Model 3 and Y deliveries, they don't break that down into it'd be good if they broke that down to each category, but they don't, and that's minus 5%. So you can start to see why the share price, when Wall Street looks at this, that it's not great. Total deliveries of which subject to operating lease accounting, okay, minus 53. Total end of quarter operating vehicle count 2%, okay. So storage deployed, here we go, 158%. So that is a bright spot there in terms of how much in gigawatt hours. And okay, Tesla locations, mobile service fleet, okay. So supercharger connections. So all right, let's move on. So some of those numbers not great there. I mean, you can see why in the earnings call they were focusing on the future, what's going to happen, and not dwelling on these numbers. And so let's see, vehicle capacity. We don't need to dwell too much on that. We can see that they've got capacity there. Elon was talking about having robotaxis at the Texas facility, I believe, and robots too. So that how big is that factory there? Because they were talking about ramping up both of those things there, and Cybertruck as well. So a lot going on in Texas. I guess he lives there, so he wants to have it. He wants to be close to what's going on there. But can they fit it all into that factory? I don't know. I guess they can extend it. What's the market share of Tesla vehicles by region? All right. So this is something. It's actually going down. See that? So the market share you'd expect, because they started off with pretty much 100% market share, and it's going down, and we've got USA and Canada going down a little bit, Europe going down, China going down. Of course, really intense competition in China there, but you can see that the trend there is down in market share, which you would expect because they've had such a big market share. But you can see the competition is coming, competition is here. All right, I think we can say that. All right, we'll have a look at some of these other graphs here, but first, I want to tell you about I am excited to say that I've partnered with ShareSite to give my viewers, my community, a special offer. So go to this page. There'll be a link in the description to go to see this offer here, this offer page. And while you're there, do scroll down and have a look and see what. If you don't know what ShareSite is, it's an excellent portfolio tracking and reporting tool for managing your investments. I use it and I think it's great. That's why I wouldn't recommend anything that I don't use myself. And this will tell you a little bit about what it's about. We're just going to do this for a few seconds. I don't want to, and then we'll get back to Tesla.
Here's how it works. Import your trading history with just a few clicks, either from your broker, from a spreadsheet, or manually. ShareSite organises all your investments in one place, no matter where the assets live, so that you can track your total performance. Market prices, currency movements and corporate actions, such as dividends and share splits, are automatically recorded. Going back up to...
So you can import your trades straight into there automatically. That's what I do straight from from two brokers that I use, go straight in there so I don't have to do that manually. You can see your full and true performance. Anyway, check out the rest of that video on that page. Go to that link, check out the page and check out the offer. Okay, let's get back to Tesla. Okay, we've got core technology here. So some of the pumper channels do focus on things like this. Now the FSD miles driven, I mean, I think this is actually of limited value. It looks good, but really we'll have to see whether it makes much difference when it comes to, the regulatory factors on getting this going. Elon did say on the call that don't invest in Tesla unless you believe in robotaxi, and it's going to be a massive part of the business, because obviously we can see in the numbers that the autos are kind of flat. There's not a lot of growth there, if any at all. And how long is it going to be before revenue for robotaxis ramp up? Because the cumulative miles driven for FSD, I mean, it's one metric, but I've seen some of the pumpers focus on this as the main thing, but really, I mean, it's really not, I don't think. So energy generation and storage, now this is good to see. Look at that energy storage. Look at that. This is really ramping up, and it's great to see it. And I've always thought that this is a good part of the business. And Elon has said that this will be bigger than cars. It should be bigger than cars eventually. And you can see that is possible. He did say that there was more demand than production capacity at the moment. So they are trying to actively ramp that up. And, he talked about cash here. We have sufficient liquidity to fund our product roadmap, long-term capacity expansion plans, and other expenses. Furthermore, we will manage the business such that we maintain a strong balance sheet during this uncertain period. So I don't see anything wrong with that. That's a good thing. They've got tons of cash. And I don't think there's anything wrong with holding cash, as Elon's obviously thinking about where to put it. Even building factories doesn't take anywhere near $30 billion to do that. So, and even building robots. So they've got tons of cash, and that's a good thing. I saw a suggestion that they should just pay out Elon for for his pay pack, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think they should invest it and try and get great returns on capital and returns on capital employed. I talk about return on capital employed. I've talked about that over on Patreon. See this here, stock analysis secret sauce. One of those, I've done 4 so far. I'm trying to do one of those a week or every couple of weeks. The first one I did was about return on capital employed and how important that is in investing. I also do weekly updates over there if you want to go and see that. It's just at the moment $5 US a month to be a Patreon member to support the channel and to get this extra bonus value over there. So join us over there if you want to. But let's go back to Tesla at the moment. Let's see some photos and charts. There was like to do this, and it does seem good. It does look good. Global BEV market share, which is going up, and China. Look how much China's taking there, and it really does. This is where the competition is in China. It's the most intense competition, and world ex China. Wow, you can see how China's taking off. People buying a lot of EVs in China. It's become normalized, and as it will in the West, I think. But really, Tesla does have competition there, and you could see. I just honestly don't think that the Chinese government will let a foreign company, let it be Tesla, who does have a factory there and employs lots of people. I don't think that they will let foreign companies win there, quite honestly. But that's just me. I hear people saying that about other companies. So why Tesla? All right, this looks good. Expansion, South Expansion Data Center. That's in Texas. Wow, see, there is expansion going on there. So this video is a bit longer than usual because I do want to go through this. If you stick with me here, we're at 15 minutes. I'm just going to continue on, and I know that people who like Tesla are involved in Tesla do like to see this, and I do want to go through this properly. I want to get a good handle on this. So Corpus Christi lithium refinery, that looks like it's just starting. There is some activity going on there. It does actually look like there's things going on there that these projects take a long time, but looks like there's definitely proper things going on there, not just a hole in the ground, which was last time they showed the semi factory in Nevada, and there wasn't a lot going on there. It was like the concrete slab was down, but that was about it. So coating shop of Cybertrucks are ramping that up. It will be interesting to see, the Cybertruck numbers if there's demand to ramp that up. They haven't really said much about how much actual demand there is. You've seen celebrities driving them, and it does seem to be, I don't know what the numbers will be like. It's an expensive vehicle, and that's part of the problem at the moment. So Model Y and Quicksilver, 1.9% APR available for all Model Y trims in the US through August 31st. But that does look good. I quite like the look of that. And there's Luna Silver, or the silver ones. I do like those. Megapacks. There's a Megapack Plus powers 1 gigawatt hour Sierra site there. So that's pretty cool. So like grid level storage, and I know that in my country where I live in New Zealand, there's one of these coming to. We've got a lot of renewable power, over 80% here, so it's good to have. A lot of it's hydro, by the way, so it is just run all the time. It's not like solar and wind where it's intermittent, but still, more storage the better. And Elon did mention that on the call, that there's no wastage, and all the power that's produced can actually be used. Autonomously handling battery cells, Optimus. Obviously, there's a lot of focus on this, and this is the reason for the big market cap of Tesla. That this wonderful future with humanoid robots, and I have done a separate video about that. I'm optimistic about that. Optimistic about this for the future, but I don't think until say like 2027 around there. And this is the problem with these future projects. We can look at the numbers here, which honestly aren't great. You saw them, we've seen them together. They're not great. So this future, how long is it before even any money will be made from robotaxis? 10th of the 10th is what Elon said in the call, that they're going to start unveiling that, what's going on. But then how long to revenue before that? Is it going to be 1-2 years? He did say on the call he was hoping for end of next year to get things going, but he said a lot. He said things before that haven't exactly been right. So key metrics quarterly here. We've got net income, operating cash flow. This is just the numbers that we saw in a graph. This is at least this was better. Like look at the last. I remember this. The last quarter was negative there for free cash flow, and at least that's looking healthier there. And so vehicle deliveries, it's been, it's sort of not patchy, but it's not ramping up. It's not like your 50% growth like when they first started, producing from new factories and so forth. And so key metrics, we've got net income, operating cash flow. So look at this here. We've got Charlie Munger doesn't like these kind of metrics, but net income sort of going down there. See that? That's kind of not a great sign there in terms of net income. That's sort of dropping, and these are reasons that the share price is going down. Also, free cash flow here. Look at that. Since 2022, there that red is not been a great sign, but this last quarter at least it's on the rise again there, I guess. And financial statements, well, we've been through those. I'm not going to go through those. This video will get way too long. We've seen the key metrics there. We've seen the numbers there. And where we'll see what next quarter has to bring. I said, I'm not going to go through the earnings call, but Elon did talk about the future projects and how great they will be. He was talking in the trillions. He was talking the storage, and he was taking robotaxis. He said he agreed with ARK's $5 trillion, future there. And he said robots, he said multiples of that for robots. So he was hoping people would buy into that, but obviously Wall Street's not buying into that just yet because the share price plummeted, and we'll have to see if it recovers tomorrow or the next day or over the coming months. But I think people are saying, where's the revenue coming from? It's so much on the cars and on storage too. That's ramping up. That's good, but it has to ramp up a lot more to really move the needle here. So the focus really is on cars, and it is going to be in October. We'll have to see what happens with robo-taxis. That event is going to be interesting. And today, by the way, I have done videos on Tesla today. 2 others I reacted to Kathy Wood, to Tasha Keeney from ARK, not Kathy Wood, Kathy Wood's protege already, and also Dan Ives talking about the future of Tesla. They're obviously 2 bullish, really bullish on there. I'm going to put a link to this channel in the description as well if you're not following that. So this is the sort of a spin-off channel, Stocks Today with JJ. Respond to news every day, and today was definitely the Tesla day. So go and see that if you want to. All right, so on the screen right now, I'm going to put a link to a video, if you're watching this on YouTube, that YouTube thinks that you should watch next. And hi to everybody on Spotify watching over there too. And also a subscription button for YouTube on screen as well. But I do appreciate everybody watching on Spotify and over on Patreon as well, that you can get these with YouTube ad-free, for instance. And I usually post those a lot earlier, so go and check that out if you want to. And thanks to everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.